If your budget is around 1.5 lakhs for both camera body and lens, and you want features like 4K 50 FPS in 10-bit 422, and you want more video centric features like waveforms and everything else, and if you want all of that in a full frame sensor, then you just have one option in the market. Today I will give you a few reasons why Lumix S5 might be the best video camera that you can find within the budget span of 1 lakh rupees, and why you might want to go for that camera today and even in 2024. This is not going to be an in-depth full review. If you want to watch that, you can go to one of my previous videos that I did on S5. It is an in-depth review of the camera. You can go watch that. I will link that video up here in this video. But the footage that you're going to see in this video was mostly shot during that period only, and I took some footage from my friend Achin Chawla. He owns a Lumix S5. So you're gonna see a lot of samples, also video samples, to see what kind of performance does this camera pack. Let's talk about the sensor for a moment. It shares the same sensor that is there in the newer bodies, that is S5 II and S5 IIX. And the interesting thing is, S1H has the same sensor, which is a Netflix approved camera. So you can already imagine the kind of quality that you are going to get out of this camera. Well, you don't literally have to imagine, I'm going to show you the results. If you want to see some more results, I will add some links in the description where you can check other reviews and see how this camera performs. I will add my friend's page as well, who shoots everything on Lumix S5, so you can check out his work also. Overall, I think the footage looks very beautiful, very sharp. It's not sharp in an over-processed way, which I love the most about this camera. And the footage looks very close to what you get out of a cinema camera, because the highlight roll off is so beautiful. Highlights are not harsh. Overall, I think it's a very pleasing looking image, which is, in terms of sharpness and quality, it is right where it is supposed to be. I have seen some people comparing this footage to Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K's footage, and I would say the footage is very comparable. If you shoot in vlog, then the dynamic range that you're gonna get out of this camera is already pretty good. But I think what makes this camera's footage a little bit more special is that if you blow out highlights in certain parts of your footage, it's easier to get the details back as compared to some other log profiles. The dynamic range overall is pretty comparable to a lot of Sony full frame offerings, which is, I think, more than enough for most of the scenarios. In reality, you're getting quality, image quality, video quality, which is comparable to Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera 6K, and you have the advantages of a full frame on top of that. You have more dynamic range and stuff. So I think it's almost like you're getting a very small mini cinema camera with a full frame sensor, and that too at this budget. I don't really have to talk much about IBIS of this camera. Everyone knows Lumix is industry leading in this area. Sometimes I can't even imagine. There were some shots that I took from a car at electronic stabilization, whatever they call it, I don't know exactly. But the shots were so smooth, they were so stable. You cannot get that kind of a performance from any other camera company right now. So IBIS is also one of the major reasons why you would want to go for this camera. Vlog for me can be a reason in itself, a very big reason alone why I would pick a Lumix camera over any other camera if I had to shoot strictly in log profiles. Vlog is one of the best log profiles that you can find in any camera out there. You get dual native ISO at 640 and 4000 when you are shooting in vlog, and you will get very clean results even in the low light scenarios. But where vlog really shines is when you try to convert and grade it. It is such a breeze to grade vlog. I mean, it's almost unfair how easily you can convert it into Rec 709 and how easily you can grade it. It is, I mean, yeah, that is why I would always prefer vlog if I had to shoot in log profile and I was given a choice what camera I have to pick. Now I will show you some examples here that were shot in vlog and I converted them into Rec 709. You can already see everything, the details, the dynamic range, and the conversion processes was very easy. You can take that from me. The list just doesn't end there. Now you have some more video centric features that you will only find in Panasonic Lumix cameras that make these cameras very close to cinema cameras. Let me read this list because I definitely cannot remember these features. So you can shoot in 4K DCI, you can shoot in 5.9K RAW via HDMI. You have anamorphic modes, so if you own anamorphic lenses, or even if you don't own one, Shure is making a lot of affordable anamorphic lenses these days. If you want to check that out, you will get a very beautiful cinematic looking image if you want to use anamorphic lenses, and you can use those lenses on Panasonic Lumix S5. It's very rare to see these features in a mirrorless camera of this range. You can use different crop modes. You have raw anamorphic mode as well. All of these raw modes are of course in 12-bit. There are video assist features like red frame. There's a red frame while you're recording, which makes it very obvious that you're recording. There are frame markers, dual zebras, waveforms, vertical playback. If you want to shoot vertical, there can be a separate vertical playback. Luminance spot metering, which I have used it a few times and it's a very handy feature to properly expose your subject. There are time code options and shutter angle support, etc. These are all features that you only find in cinema cameras exclusively. Okay, elephant in the room, autofocus. अभी तक के Lumix cameras में जो एक reason सबसे बड़ा होता था why people didn't lean towards these cameras was autofocus, and Lumix S5 is one of the last cameras that had contrast based autofocus. इसके बाद वाले S5 2X and S5 II, all of these models have phase detect autofocus. भूल जाता हूँ यार. But I think the contrast based autofocus in this camera was their best till this point, and I don't think it is as bad as people make it look like. I did a vlogging test with this camera and the performance was fine on continuous autofocus, of course. And my friend Achin Chawla, he makes all of his YouTube content, his vlogs on this camera on continuous autofocus, and it does fine in those kind of situations. For normal YouTube, I think it will be perfect for that. You might see some pulsing here and there, but I don't think it will be right there in your face. It is not going to be that noticeable. If I had to explain in one line, if you heavily rely on autofocus in professional environments, this camera is not for you. But if you're used to shooting manual when it comes to professional gigs and you just want autofocus for your YouTube content, this camera is perfect for you. You can use this camera as a continuous autofocus for your YouTube videos, and it is good enough for that. I personally don't use autofocus whenever I am in a professional environment. I never use autofocus there. Even if you give me a Sony A7S III, I will switch it to manual focus and then use it. That is just because my style of filmmaking just doesn't align with using autofocus. But yeah, I mean, to someone who is already a cinematographer and they're already used to using cinema lenses and stuff like that, I think this camera is perfect. You can always rely on autofocus when you're doing YouTube videos, but when it comes to professional environments, if you're using manual focus, why not go for this camera then? So there is a 30-minute time limit on recording modes like 4K 50 FPS in 10-bit. So if you are shooting 4K 24 FPS in 8-bit, there is no time limit there. But if you're shooting in 10-bit, there is a time limit of 30 minutes there. I know it is a bummer, and this thing means a lot to a lot of people, and this might become a very crucial factor. But yeah, it's not a reason big enough for me. If you do shoots like long interview takes and stuff, then you might want to pass on this camera. But if you're using this as a B cam, then of course you can buy this, or you can always switch back to 4K 8-bit modes so that you don't have any limits there. This is the most frustrating thing for me. As someone who shoots a lot of architecture and interior design work, I need the widest view possible at all times. That means I cannot shoot on 4K 50 FPS when there is a crop. But a solution to this is I have perfected shooting in 4K 30 FPS, where if I need to slow down the footage a little bit, usually I don't have to, but if I have to slow down footage at some point, I use that option in DaVinci Resolve. I don't actually remember what do you call it, frame optimization or something. So you can slow down your 4K 30 and 25 FPS footage also. And for me personally, 4K 50 uncropped is such a huge deal that if I have to shoot in 4K 30 in S5 II and S5 2X also, I would rather shoot 4K 30 in S5. If you want better autofocus and things like better recording options and SSD recording, you might still want to go with those options. But if these things don't matter to you as much, like the way that I've explained till this point, then definitely you can try out S5. This is it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you got a little clarity on why I think S5 is the most value for your money camera right now. I don't think any camera in the market provides you this much value in the current situation. And yeah, I think I said pretty convincing things. Okay then, I'll see you in the next video. Till then, be kind, keep grinding. Bye bye.